Good morning, Rabbi Isai. And he's from the normal ones. This is Simi Shiger with Uncle Phil. The middle is Yisroel Goldstein. I love the end of the email.
He really wants you to keep it.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Thank you for the daily emails, jokes, and shiurim. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. When you were speaking yesterday about confidence, it reminded me of the following stories with me. During COVID, when I was working for an organization, I like this story because he went to be mechazik, but he came out mechuzik. I used to walk through the hospitals with a badge from a planning company, and no one stopped me. On one of these trips, I met someone who was on a ventilator the day before. He was out, cold, the day before, doing MDY, Psachim Daf, Amud Beis. Psachim Daf. He started convincing me to start. I told him that I had started a bunch of times and always fell off after a couple of weeks, so forget it. He then told me that he'd been on a respirator since Eruvin Daf Tzaddik Daled. And when he woke up that morning, he just carried on from wherever everyone was up to, because it's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. So I started. At the beginning of Yevamis, we met in Shul, and he asked me if I was still doing it. I decided not to do Yevamis due to yeshiva trauma, and he convinced me to start again from where you were doing it. Since then, Daf Yud Gimel Yevamis, I've been on board. I'm keeping him. And the next story, we don't say that. Rabbi said, this guy's a big tzaddik, short Amud assistance. He's doing us a favor because the Amud is very short. Hi, Rebbe. I have no words to sufficiently thank you or your dedicated crew for teaching me so much torah and changing my life. But I feel a tremendous sense of Akar Satoiv. You've helped me so much over the past couple of years, since the beginning of Masechus Rosh Hashanah. So now I'd like to pay you back a little by helping you take up time on a short Amud by asking you a question on Tosfos. You're welcome. So he goes into this long question that's been bothering him for 40 years. 40 years. I didn't think it's okay question, but I had my little, I agree with what people told him, plus, I'm not going to go into the whole question. The Gemara, the Tais is just pointing out that it's a lashon. Shuddha is a language, and since it's a language, it's only used in certain situations. That's how I learned it. But he writes all the way at the end. The beginning of the letter may sound like it's just meant as a cute introduction, but I really mean it. Thank you for everything. And we found in this. Take a look at this. This might answer your question a little bit more. The one on the left. Okay. Neftalli Rosenberg. Hi, Reb Eli. I started doing the daf together with your shir by Bava Basra, Daf Beis, and doing the daf since brachas. I'm really enjoying your shir with all the charts and animations. It really enhances the learning. I started watching your shir this morning, did not get a chance to finish it. Went to spend some time at a park and hurt myself and landed in the emergency room for a couple of hours. Baruch Hashem, I was able to finish watching your shir while waiting for the test results, and it made the hospital all the more geschmack. Baruch Hashem, I'm home and all is good. Attaches the picture of me doing the daf in the ER. Here he is doing the daf. Even in the ER, even with pain, you do the daf. On Friday, you gave my son Zevi a patch to give to his uncle, Yossi Abramson, who's going into Gaza for his third Miluim on Tuesday morning. Yossi's been part of MDY off and on for a while. When we gave him the patch, he said it's a sign that it's a good time to rejoin when going back to Gaza. While he was in Gaza, the last two times, he started writing a sefer Divrei Torah for each parsha based on the Sfas Emes. He called it Sfas HaMelchama. So over here, Sfas HaMelchama. They even crowdfunded to get it printed. He has already published 3 volumes, Beis Shmois and Vayikra. Wrote them while in Gaza on a stender he built from mortar shell cases. See the back cover. I think I showed the picture. Here it is. When he is in Miluim, Yossi, look at this. He sent this video of him sporting his new patch, getting ready to go into Gaza. Let's see how many Hebrew-speaking MDYers, both religious and non-religious, come out of this Miluim. Because when he was there, he got a bunch of kids. Anyways, Yossi is an electrician at Shari Tzaddik, a father of 7 kids. His oldest son, Shlomo, recently joined the combat unit as well. Thanks for the patch. Yisroel Zevi Lowenstein, Ramabit Shemesh, Rabbi Isai, here he is. And that's Lowenstein on the left. And check this out.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
So here he is with his gun, with the Gemara, and with the patch. And Rabbi Isai's two children are right here in the front. Give him a nice warm welcome. Shalom, איך קוראים לך? איך? יצחק, ואתה, איך קוראים לך? Shmuel. They don't speak English, but they wanted to hear the email about their father. תודה שבאתם. מתגעגעים כבר לאבא? כבר? רגע, הוא רק עזב לפני יומיים. כן, he said they already miss him, even though it was only 2 days ago that he left. So, okay, שיחזור בשלום במהרה. Netzarim right now, okay? Should go well. The Masechta is sponsored for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Paras HaChodesh, last day. Ahron Fraiman, zechus, to rebel. If you continue siyadta dishmaya and teaching torah to klal Yisrael, thank you very much. Yishkoyach. Paras HaChodesh, lefur shleima. Rabbi Isai, in the Hebrew Shir, Gary, Gary was here last night at the Hebrew Shir, so we interview one Zoom person every day. It takes about a minute. It tells us his name, what city he's from. Yesterday we had a guy from Afula. Every day from another place in Eretz Yisrael. It might be kedai to do it if we have time, especially on the short dapim. Yeah, but when we turn the daf, when we turn the Amud, huh? Get ready with volume and remind the guy to put on his the microphone. Who? Rosner? Let's do Rosner. Let's interview Rosner. That would be awesome. Rosner, get ready, Reb Yaakov. It's on a little bit of a delay for him. If nobody understands the joke, we have Reb Yaakov Rosner. He watches me on Zoom during the shir. He gets it both. He does chazara. He hears me this, and he drives, and it takes him, how long does it take you to get it from Yerushalayim every day?
5:30.
I didn't ask you what time you leave. How many hours does it take? I'm not good at math, so you tell me 5:30, I'm not going to be able to catch.
An hour and a half going,
An hour and a half each direction. 3 hours plus here. Unbelievable. And there's a guy, there's at least one guy I know that watches the shir every single day, lives on this block, and hasn't been to this base in over a year. Bemis. And there's more than one. I know at least one guy used to come a lot. Zevi Fliegman, in honor of our dear beloved daughter, Riki, 21st birthday. Rivka Bas Dvora, wishing you success and nachas. Yvaldik. Rabbi Isai, Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Ari was from? Lakewood, New Jersey. See the bar park of Lakewood. No, let's stick a variety. Who's that guy next to you, Rabbi Sher? What's your name? איך קוראים לך? אתה אח שלהם? שכן. יפה. Okay. By the end of the shir, they'll speak English. זוהים של אבויסאי. וזוהים של... אתם רוצים לעזוב כבר? אתם יכולים לעזוב עכשיו. זה, אתה רוצה לשמוע איך זה הולך? אוקיי. זוהים של אבויסאי וזוהים של אבויסאי. We have a fight between two adults, fighting like children. Each one says, my father is stronger than your father. My father owned this. This is my father's, not your father's. Each one says the opposite of the other. What's the halacha? When two people say the same thing, we have no idea. Shvuah. How do you make a shvuah? You have to, you need a edechad, no? Hold on 1 second. So you're saying shvuah. Everybody else says kol da'am gavar. You want to go with them, maybe? You want to go with you? Interesting. Zevi Fliegman, Omer Rav Nachman, kol da'alim gavar. You have to do kol da'alim gavar. The one that's stronger wins. But what else do you need in addition to the kol da'alim gavar? Says Dr. Factor. What do you need, Dr. Factor? In addition to the kol da'alim gavar, don't be quiet now. Say what you said before. Shvuah! There you go. You need a shvuah. Hopefully you guys remember that one. In addition to that, you need a shvuah. When the Medina was established, they wouldn't allow for Haredi Chadarim. They said that you have to do mamlachti schools. So they came to the Chazon Ish, and The Chazon Ish said, Kol Da'alam Govar. So he explained, he said, Kol Da'alam Govar like the Rosh. Said it a few times. The Rosh says, what does Kol Da'alam Govar mean? What, because you have bigger muscles than the other guy, that's why you deserve it? It's not really fair. So the Rosh explains logically, when something is sentimental to you, you got it from your forefathers, it's in the family for all the generations, you're going to put up a big fight. You're going to put up a better fight than the other guy. If a guy doesn't really deserve it, many times he just walks away. It's not worth the fight. So that's the Chazon said. If you really care and you really want that type of school, and you care more than the government, you care more than the other guy, you'll win. So says the Gemara. So let's remember this Reb Nachman, because we're going to talk about him for the entire next Amud, which is 5 lines.
Yeah, maybe.
I see 6 lines. Okay, 6 lines. Again, Reb Nachman says if 2 people are fighting and we don't know what to do, each one has the same exact claim, neither of their claims is better, we don't know what to do, what do? Kol Da'alam Govar. What other options do we have? What else could it be? Yachloiku maybe. 50-50. 2 people are holding on to a tower. The Gemara doesn't ask from there. But the Gemara says, why is it different? Mishnei shtaros hayotzim b'yom echad. The Rav Omar yachloiku. U'Shmuel Omar shuda the daina. When there are 2 documents saying that Reuven gave this field as a gift to Shimon, Reuven gave this field as a gift to Levi. Each one produces a perfect document with everything that the field was given as a gift, says the Rashbam. As a gift, 2 gifts the same day. So what if it's the same day? So says let's say I know for a fact that one was given in the morning, one was given in the evening or in the afternoon. So the one that's first, it should be his. Says the Rashbam, no, it's not his, because when you give a shtar, it's only chal all the way at the end of the day. When the sun goes down, then you get the piece of real estate. But being that there are 2 shtaros, so they both happen simultaneously, and therefore we have no idea who gets what. So therefore, says Rav, yachloiku. Shmuel says, shuda the daina. All I remember is that when I was in Yeshiva Tana and we had that word, I used to shuda the daina. It was a scary word, scary concept. And in fact, we have the word throughout Shas. Well, I don't say throughout Shas. We had it many times already. And there's always a machlokes between Rashi and Tosfos, over the Rashbam and Tosfos. According to Rashi, Rashbam, shuda the daina means that the dayanim, they try to figure out logically what's going on. Typically, you can't use logic. You have to use halacha. They're going to use logic. They're going to insert their own common sense. Let's call it common sense. You're going to say, listen, if one of the guys, Reuven, happens to be the giver's brother, then it makes more sense. He gave it to him and not to a random guy. Whatever the situation is. Tosfos says, listen to this. Tosfos says you don't have to use common sense. Tosfos says you do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Whatever they want to do, they decide, they look at the 2 of them, we want to give it to this guy. That's what we feel. We feel like nothing to do with logic. Not logic. Whatever they like. Ushmul Omar shuda the daina. So says the Rashbam, why shuda the daina? Why not like Rav that says yachloiku? Says the Rashbam, according to his sheet especially, that it's the dayanim that make a decision here. Because when you do yachloiku, 100% of the time you're going to make a mistake. Because it's either 100% Reuven or 100% Shimon. When you say 50% goes to Reuven, 50% goes to Shimon, you're messing up 50% for sure. When you do Shuda Daina, you might be lucky. You might get the right guy. You might give him 100%. If you use common sense, you might be able to figure it out. Okay? Once I'm in the middle of the shir here, so you can't really skip the emails, so I can tell you this. Be'ezer Hashem, if they don't shut down the airport tonight, I have a flight at 11:30. And so first of all, just the schedule today. At 3:30, I'll be giving a shir here. The Olam is invited to come, but you don't have to come. It's really tomorrow's daf, which will be shown, edited and everything, tomorrow morning here in the Beis Medrash. The plan, we're going to try really hard, everybody. We had meetings about this. how to make sure that the shir will be shown here every single day on regular speed with the emails, just a regular shir, as if shir is here. Shir comes first, shachris comes second. It's a base measure for shiurim. Shachris is a benefit for those who come to the shir. So we're not going to rush the shir 1.5, 2 speed. We're not going to cut out this. We're not going to cut. There's people that live for the emails. I know most of you hate them. There's people that need them. So we're going to do emails. We're going to do shir. It's going to be. And Be'ezer Hashem, I'm going to try to be a day ahead, which is very difficult because today that means I have to get 4 shiurim. But we'll try to be ahead so that the shir will be here on time every single day at 7:10. Hopefully Shachris at 8 o'clock. A lot of times when I'm in Chutz La'aretz, I don't have the clock and it's like a Motzei Shabbos and I go a little over. Hopefully with the shorter dapim, we'll be on time. In addition, we're going to try to have breakfast here every day. Bagels from good places. Speak to Judah if you want to donate. Somebody donated already $1,200. I brought some cash with me, Judah, I have with me. So I'll give you that also. My donation, if we need more money, we'll get more money. People are welcome to bring stuff if you want, some baked goods or whatever. Just make a matzav. Try, because a lot of people like the matzav. A lot of people want the kvias of the time. And a lot of people feel that when I'm away, they fall off. So first of all, it's ben azmanim. Ben azmanim in general is problematic for the daf because people go on vacation and you're on a different schedule. So I'm asking the Olam, please sacrifice a little bit. Try to do the daf that day, every day. And one piece of advice that I could give is that if you find yourself on a ben azmanim day, really, really late at night, and you're not in the mood of doing the daf, rather than pushing it off to tomorrow, open up a Gemara for 5 minutes, 3 minutes. It makes a huge difference. If you just learn for 3 minutes the daf, many times you get the appetite and you just go on. But even if you don't, at least you learned that day for 3 minutes, you did that day's daf a little bit. It's a whole different world. Try it out. If you can't do it, if you're at the end, 3 minutes. All right. So, 3:30 Be'ezer Hashem in the base measures today. I don't know, Gary, we have to figure out who's going to be on the cameras. 3:30. 7 o'clock, we're going to do Daf Lamed Vav in Hebrew. 8 o'clock, Daf Lamed Zayin in Hebrew. 9 o'clock, I'm going to the airport. Hopefully I make my flight, the 11:30 flight. Somebody, who said, Shaffer, who was it that wrote to me this morning? It's you? You have a 12 o'clock flight and you're leaving at 8:30. So I hope I make my flight.
I have status like you.
I have zero status. I don't do the status thing. Seriously, I don't. I didn't say that. I don't have status. I'll tell you this. My son is flying economy and he paid more than a business class ticket. It cost him close to $4,000 on economy. Because we got him a ticket just a few days. He wasn't sure if he wants to come. And that's cheap. Okay. Zok the Gemara. Now that we fooled you and we said all of this during the shir, now we can go weiter. So here's a question somebody sent me. Interesting question. I don't know what the answer is. He seemed to think that this is the halacha. So I'll say this over. If Rav says, according to Rashbam, when a shtar, you receive a shtar in the morning, you only receive the real estate in the evening when the sun goes down. And therefore, when there's 2 shtaros, they happen simultaneously. But what if one person's shtar was, let's say, in America and one person's shtar is in Israel? So Israel's shtar happened first because the sun went down first in Israel. Only 8 hours later, or whatever it is, did the sun go down in America. So maybe it's his shtar, maybe it's his piece of property. That was his hara. Okay. Zog the Gemara. So the question is again, when we have 2 people fighting and we paskin, says Rav Nachman, kol dalam gover, whoever's stronger wins. Why is it when it comes to 2 stars we don't say kol dalam gover, we have a yachloiku? So says the Gemara, Hassam, when it comes to this case of 2 documents, there's no way to figure out what happened. Even if you know for a fact what happened. You know that one shtar was written in the morning, one shtar was written in the evening. There's nothing we can do about it. Why? According to Rashbam, it happens simultaneously during Shkia. Or Tzezik Achavim. When it comes to Zevi Fliegman, they're both fighting whose father it was, who owned it earlier. One day, the guy will show up with Eidim. So Bezdin doesn't want to get involved today. You guys fight it out, figure it out. we don't want to paskin. It goes to Reuven when Shimon is going to bring Edom the next day to prove that it was his. Ask the Gemara, what about the famous Mishnah? Hamachlef par b'chamar v'yolda. I've heard a guy say this to somebody that was getting married, Zivik Sheni. Yomachlef par b'chamar v'yolda. Then she had a baby. So a person exchanges a cow for a donkey. No, people use it all the time. You buy the BYD instead of the Yomachlef par b'chamar. It's the same garbage. So what's going on here? We all know we're getting better and better at this as days go on. Could you acquire a cow with cash? Huh? Can you make a kinyan on a cow with money? No. You need Meshicha. So it says here, Hamachlef par b'chamar. That's why it says this chalipin done here. I pull the cow to me, you acquire the donkey. I pull the donkey to me, you acquire the cow. It happens simultaneously in the same second. V'yolda, and the cow gave birth, and now we have a question: when did the cow give birth? At what point? Before he acquired it or after? Here, Rabbi Isai, take a look at this. Here we go. The guy on the right is going to do Mashiach, he's going to pull the donkey to him, and therefore the guy on the left that owned the donkey, he's going to acquire the cow. Here we go. He tells him, go ahead, pull it. And then they look at the side and they see a baby calf. Now if you look over here, let's do it again, only because you see where the cow is situated? When we were learning it in Bava Basra, it was in a barn. But according to the Rashbam, it's not in a barn. The Gemara says over there, it's in an agam. Because if it's in a barn, then the person that owns the barn, he would have he would be kind of it's in his rishos. So it's in a hefker place. Let's see, it was a little jittery, I think. He pulls it, okay. They're not paying attention to when the cow gave birth. They don't have to. And then they look over and they see that there's a baby cow. When was this cow born? Was the cow born a moment before he pulled it, and therefore it's owned by the owner, the original owner of the cow? Or was the baby born a moment after he pulled it and it's owned, the baby is owned by the new owner of the cow? If this was done with cash, we wouldn't have a shiloh. Because when you buy with cash, it didn't happen at the time of the cash. It happens when the guy goes and picks up his cow and brings it home. So then we would know when the cow gave birth. V'chein, the same halacha, if he sells his slave and she gave birth. But if you notice over here, it doesn't say hamachlef shivchasai, because a slave you could buy with kesef. So he sold the slave and the money is what makes the kinyan, and she gave birth in a different city. I make the deal over here in my Bet Shemesh. I have a slave in America and she gave birth. So I don't know exactly when she gave birth. It was this time. The baby slave is mine because he was born before I sold the mother. And the other one says, no, it happened afterwards, and therefore the baby is mine. The halacha is yachloiku. Ask the Gemara, why is it in our sugya we say, Reb Nachman says, called govar, and over here by the machlef par b'chamar, we say the halacha is yachloiku. You know, somebody wrote me, it's mentioning that. Somebody wrote me, I said over a Maisa, I think it's a Maisa Shahaya, with the guy, with the king and everything. He says, you spoke Lashon Hara. You spoke Lashon Hara in Klal Yisrael. But every time you say that Klal Yisrael didn't have there, that's Lashon Hara in Klal Yisrael, I don't understand this time exactly. I was saying for Tayelas that we have a problem with Sinus Chinam. Okay, fine, you're saying this is Sinus Chinam in 3 weeks. Bye, the Givaldi. Says the Gemara, Hasam lahai daf lamed hey Amud Beis. Hasam lahai islay drara dema moina. Another Givaldic word or concept. Drara dema moina. CCC. As I looked at the R scroll, CCC, clear cut claim. Where they got this from, I have no idea. How it fits into Drara, I don't know. In Yeshiva, the Rebbe always used to say, a shaychus l'mammon. And that's how the article says it, that's how the Mesivta says it. I don't know if they got it from my Magachir. There's a shaychus, there's a connection, there's a connection. I don't know what clear-cut claim means. I like CCC. Well, remember it. CCC. What does that mean? There's a Drara d'mayna. Well, I always like Drara d'mayna. Think about it. When it comes to the cow, you hear? When it comes to the cow, the guy that sold the cow to the guy that owned the donkey, he definitely owned the cow. The guy that bought the cow, he definitely owns the cow today. They both were 100% owners at certain times. The question is, when was the calf born? When he owned it or he owned it? But they had a shaychus to the moment. They have a connection to this story, to this object, to this item. Hacha. But Zevi Fliegman, it's either mine 100% or yours 100%. It can't be that both of us own this thing or have connection to it. One of us is a complete liar. Hacha, idemar loidemar, videmar loidemar. That's it. Gone. Finished. It's a very different story, says the Gemara. When we both have a connection to this item, I was the owner, you were the owner, now we just don't know when. Yachloiku. But when one of us is a complete liar, so Chacham, we're not going to get involved there. Go do your own thing. Beat each other up. Figure it out yourself. Boys, so we have new sponsors today. Sponsored by Yisroel Share. Here he is, Yisroel Share. Construction management and supervision. And the life share community protecting families today before tomorrow's unexpected loss. Kidnovations LLC. In honor of my Uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman and Fishel. Zechus Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga. He's back. Kidnovations. And Riki Yehudit's bas. Yafa Chaya. Zok the Heilige Gemara. Zoom. Let's do Zoom. Favos nicht. Let's try. First time in a long time, Mendel Learner always said we should do Zoom. You have Mendel Learner on there? How long does it take to push a Zoom button, Gary? No, first put him on, then you get the guy to unmute. Oh, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem.
What's your name?
Moshe David Klein.
I didn't hear the last name. What did you say? Klein. Moshe David Klein. And from?
Tzvat.
You're in America, right? Because they don't have those fireplaces in Israel. Maybe.
I'm from Tzvat, Israel.
Tzvat. You're outside. Where are you? Yeah, he's outdoors. And now I see that hole on his left shoulder. That's the drainage. No. Okay, go. What's your? Yeah, well, you're in Tzvat.
Tzvat, immediately 9 years ago.
Yeah.
We live in Monsey, New York.
Monsey, New York. Gewaldig. So when did you start learning with us?
Bava Basra.
Gewaldig.
Yossi Klein's cousin.
What? So you're a Klein and Yossi's, your mom is a Klein, your Klein cousin, Gewaldig. I hope Yossi watches this. I'm sure he will. Okay, very nice meeting you. Feel free to come visit us in the Beis Medrash. Not for the next month, but Zag is in. Great choice, Gary. Very impressed. Unbelievable. Okay, let's keep on doing it. How long did that take? A minute. Let's go. Zog the Gemara. Amri Nardoy. Listen to this halacha. Brand new halacha. Brand new sugya. Fascinating stuff. You'd never believe the outcome of this halacha. Amri Nardoy. Bo echad min hashuk. Ve'echzik ba. You have two people fighting like little babies. Comes a third guy. V'yachriya b'neim. Yovei hashlishi v'yachriya b'neim. Fighting. Again, I didn't have time to look it up. I remember there was a story. I once saw a whole mice between two countries. I don't remember what they were. Two Nebuch countries fighting. Maybe it was even that each country said, you're responsible for this piece of land. And the other one said, you. Then another random, I don't know what, entity came and grabbed that land. They did a land grab and Shalom Yisrael. It became theirs. You're fighting. All of a sudden, another guy comes and grabs it. He gets to keep it. So they did a little thing here. I'll forewarn the Olam that this little thing, although it's only 10 seconds, took all day long. It took 2.5 people all day long. Okay, here have 2 people fighting over what seems like a piece of land, over the trees, I don't know if they're wearing yarmulkes or not yet. They didn't have enough time for that. They ran out of time. Here comes the third guy. That's the idea. Yove Ashlishi and Adios. All I know is that these Israeli kids, they enjoyed it even though it was in English. Maybe it wasn't in any language. Okay. So we have 2 pshatim l'chayra. Maybe it's explanation of the pshat, but 2 ways to understand this. One pshat is the third guy gets it completely. He ignores everybody. It's his. Why? The Tana Reb Chia, Gazlan shel Rabim, Lav Shmei Gazlan. When there are people fighting, there's a bunch of Gazlanim, like over here, they're fighting, and you steal from them, Lav Shmei, you're not considered a Gazlan. Why? Because either, one pshat, according to Rashbam, you hear? What could be the pshat? Because either the 2 guys fighting are not even connected to this case, they're fighting. One of them for sure is not connected. Maybe both are not connected. According to Tosfos, who's going to sue that truck driver? Who's going to take him to court? Ruvain, maybe it's not his. Shimon, maybe it's not his. In order to take somebody to court, you have to be 100% the owner. Can't. Actually, why not? I'll show you this thing if it's already here. Here are the people fighting over land over here. Maisa Shaya, this is real. I guess they don't have guns. It's on the border of India and something. Okay. Zog the Gemara. You're in a rush, Mendy? To get anywhere? You rushed to get to Ravashi. Oh, okay. Whew, because I was getting nervous that you're like pushing along over here. Ravashi Omar, Loilam, I'm going to miss you, Mendy. I'm going to miss you in America. Maybe you should go live on YouTube, or on Zoom with me. Ravashi Omar Loilam Shmei Gazlan. Says Ravashi, you misunderstood here. Snapshot, Riki is saying that when you steal from the public, you're not a Gazlan. The opposite. You're such a Gazlan that you're not even a Gazlan. You're too much. You're above a Gazlan. You're the next level Gazlan. What does that mean? Loilam Shmei Gazlan. Umaylav Shmei Gazlan. Shleinitan leishavai. You can't even do tshuva. So first of all, let's do a little Tosfos here. Tosfos says an amazing thing, a big yisroel in Shas. When the Gemara says Ein moitin nosim yadar, Riki says the guy stole from the Rabbim, from the Gazlanim, Rabbim, Gazlan shel Rabbim, you don't take it out of him. Says Tosfos, Ein moitin nosim yadar, v'afilu kosvar shad zelazeh. What if the 2 guys get together? They say, this makes no sense that a third guy just took our truck, whatever. Let's make a deal. It's for sure not him. It's one of us. Let's make a deal. I'll sign over my rights to you. You sign over your rights to me. We'll go sue him together. We'll get him in court. At least we'll have 50%. Okay? Says Tosfos, you can't do that. Why? One of them is a Rasha. One of them is 100% false. So we can't do a takana for Rishayim. You hear what's going on here? A yisroel. We can use this in many other areas in Shas. When somebody acts as a Rasha, you don't give him a takana. You don't say, let's do this, let's do that. No, nothing. We ignore you. So, and why are both of them Rishayim? Because they're making a deal with each other. Even if you're 100% right, then you should. If you're 100% right, why are you making a deal with the other guy that's not right? By you making a deal with him and writing a harsha, you're also Rasha. You're getting involved with the Rasha.
You lose 100% if you don't do it.
Okay, but you're doing a deal with a bad guy. We're not going to help you. I hear your reason, but at the end of the day, we're also helping the Rasha. I struggle to understand why the Rishayim, not Rasha, and I'm trying to explain that Nekuda. It's a very interesting halacha based on this. Where can we stick this halacha in? So a Ma'aseh Shaya that the Gedolei Adar discussed previous generations. the Zechariah the Rabbeinu Gershom, you're not allowed to divorce your wife forcefully. If she doesn't want to accept the get, Rabbeinu Gershom says you're not allowed to force her. What if she doesn't act like a woman's supposed to act? She's a meredes. So she's not keeping the torah. She's not keeping what she has to keep. Does Rabbeinu Gershom still apply to her? Yes or no? Should you do a heter meir rabbanim? There's one of the Gdolei Rosh Yeshivas of our generation. He's married to another woman with a heter meir. He got 100 rabbanim. His wife didn't want to accept the get, so he went and he got a heter meir rabbanim. He's currently married to her. So, should you do a heter meir rabbanim, or should you do this? Besides, it's a whole nidan, even if this is Rabbeinu Gershom in our generation, because it was only for 1,000 years, the klal yisroel re-accepted. It's a whole nidan. But anyway, what should you do? So, the Marsham brings this taisvus, and he says that when a person acts like a rasha, there's no takanas chacham for him. She's acting like a rasha, she's doing against what the Torah says, then we're not going to help her out with the Cherem de Rabbeinu Gershom. Some Sefer also says it's better to do. I think he says it's better to not to force the get than to do a heter meir rabbanim, something like that. But they base it on this taisus. So I'm just saying this. Think about this taisus. Remember this taisus. There's no takaras chachamim when it comes to a person that doesn't do the Torah, doesn't keep the Torah. Now, that is here. Let me show you. In case you didn't want to. Anyways, here's taisus. In case you don't want to look in or you're on the road. Good. Now let's read this Rashbam. It says Rashbam. Umay lo yishmei gazlan. It's a very important Rashbam. So let me ask you a question. Why can't this guy? The Gemara says the third guy is such a bad guy. He's such a bad guy because he took this thing. He can't give it back. What bothered me a lot is that why can't he give it back? Where was this truck parked? It was parked on 13th Avenue between 45th and 46th Street. So take the truck, put it right back there on 13th Avenue between 45th and 46th. Take these two guys, put them back on the truck, fight it out, go back into the ring, call down Govar. Why am I such a rasha? I can't give it back. Why? So, my chavrusa tried to tell me different pshatim, and then I noticed here in the Rashbam a beautiful thing. Check this out. He's maskim. He's not a gazlan, meaning he's such a bad gazlan, he can't even do tshuva. There's no tshuva. Then he has no clue who to give it back to. Once it came into his hands, he must give it back to the owner. Don't just put it back there hefker and give it back to the two guys and say the kol manda al govar and let them fight it out. Oh, here's the nekuda. No, what's pshat? Anybody want to say pshat? What's pshat? You didn't make a kinyan on it. You can't. It's not. You can't make a kinyan on something that's not yours. Why? He's putting it right back to where it came from. Oh, Zok the Rashbam, pshat is like this. Once you take it, you become responsible to figure out whose it is. You become responsible is the key word here. Like we learned yesterday, when Bezdin takes the boat. Remember, there's two people fighting on the boat. And one guy says, Bezdin, please hold on to the boat for a week. So the Gemara says, don't touch that boat. Because if you touch it, Bezdin is going to be responsible forever for it. Once you pick it up, now Bezdin has to decide who's the owner, who's the real owner, who's not the real owner. Says Rubama over here also, we have two people fighting. Once you take the truck and run with it, then you become responsible to figure out who it is. And until you give each one a new truck, you don't have a kapara. But here it's very important. Let's keep on going in Rashbam. Certainly over here, when he took it as theft. Listen to this. A person who steals, it's worse than somebody that's over in arayis on Eshes. Why? When Farish Hasam, they explain, when you are over on arayis, you can do tshuva, says the Gemara. You can do tshuva on any aveira. But stealing from the public, lo yefshe b'tshuva. There's no. How are you going to find all the people you stole from? How are you possibly going to find? You don't know who to give back to. So a while back, I said in the Hebrew share at least, that there's a certain store here that sells fruit, that every time I go there, almost every time, I notice that my change is not what I'm supposed to get. And when I point it out to him, he goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he gives me the thing. One time, 2 times, 3 times. And then the lady in front of me, it happens to. So I said it in shir. And it went viral. And I felt bad because nobody came to me to tell me that it happened to them. So I'm like, maybe it's just, I'm making this up. Until yesterday, somebody told me, yeah, it happened. Of course, before I saw that, we know that you have to check your change over there. You have to, but it's not just check the change. He has one of these, he gives you a receipt, but it doesn't specify how many pounds did you buy, what it is per pound. So he just could make anything. He pretends, he puts it on the scale. It's 5. Anyway, so I don't feel that bad anymore because another person was mevar the story. But what about, we have here, it happens in New York a lot, in Borough Park, in these places. What happens here, I've seen many times, a guy's in a rush hour of Shabbos, he has to get his garinim, there's nowhere to park, he blocks the street, he takes his car, he says, what was he over on? Say the poiskim. He's a gazlan. And how's he going to do tshuva? How many people, because of him, are 3-4 minutes late? And then they miss things. And they're just waiting in the car because of him. So how are you going to do tshuva? That's what it says over here. You can't do tshuva for something like that. And then, of course, the famous Maisa, I said it a number of times, I'll say it again. A guy, he stole from the rabbim. How? He had David Tishu Shniya. He had a tissue company, and instead of putting in 100 tissues, he put 98 tissues. He figured he'll make, 2% off everything, and that's how he sold for years. And then he became about tshuva. He wanted to do tshuva, so he figured the only way to do tshuva is you have to give back to the public. So he started making tissue boxes, and he put in 102 per box. He figured he'll pay back. And then one day, a newspaper decided to do a report on tissues. So they bought all the tissues in the store, and they counted each one. And they saw that his company, they actually give more. They made a big sting about it, that he's the only honest guy. He's the guy that gives 102. Anyway, but the truth is, when you do steal from the public, the way to pay back, you have to pay back the public by making public things. You make a public sidewalk, a mikvah, whatever. I'm saying like something. A well, or give to MDY. Exactly. A well, okay, public well. Givaldik. The best thing is not to do it lechatchila because it's very hard to get a kapara. Zog the Gemara. Omer cheskasin shal yishonim yom liyom. Rabbi said, what?
He stole. The guy took the truck, stole. That's for sure.
You put it back to the same spot he stole from. Same spot. He never took it from a person. They didn't have it. Nobody owned it. No, they didn't have any possession on it. They were fighting over it. So he returned it to the spot. If I steal a ladder from you, I put it back in your backyard. Okay, we'll argue about it later. Cheskos and Shalosh Shanim, but the Rishbam explains it beautifully. Cheskos and Shalosh Shanim miyom liyom. It says in the Mishnah that you have to do chazaka for 3 years, every single day, consecutively. Omer Ababa. Idolile iu gufei tzana de peri. If it's like this, the owner who's standing in the back helps out the old yid that's claiming a chazaka on the field. He helps him out. He puts the basket of fruit on his shoulder. What is he saying? He's saying, you're not a ganav. You actually own this field. That's why I'm helping you. These are your fruit. Therefore, la'alta have a chazaka, you don't have to wait 3 years. That itself is the biggest raya that it says. But what if he explains himself away? Immediately says, I am helping him because he works for me. He's my aris. Nemon. Then he's believed. That's, of course, within the 3 years, he explains why the guy's in the field. But if he claims that he worked for him as a sharecropper, as a aris, but this happened after there's a 3-year chazaka loy. Why not? Because then you could be in the field for 5 years, have a beautiful chazaka, and then I'll come along. No, it's not a chazaka because you actually work for me. That's not fair. But if it's in fact true that the guy works for you, a lot of people have employees that work for more than 3 years. So what are you supposed to do if a guy works for you in your field? Let's say you have a handyman in your house and he works there for 3 years. So it becomes his house. That's a chazaka. A guy works in the field. You don't have time to go do. You hire some people to work in your field. Most people hire other people. So what? The guy that works in the field, he's going to acquire the field because he didn't say anything in 3 years? What are you supposed to do? Omar lei, a big halacha here. Yes. When you hire an employee, you better make sure to make an occasional mecha. You take 2 witnesses and say, you see this guy working in the field? It's not his, it's my field. I hired him. Okay. So now the guy in the field working there knows to hold on to the shtar. Because if you don't say this,
It's like Rockefeller Center. One day a year they close it to show it's private. It's own private. Whole Rockefeller Center. They close one day
to make a mecha. Very nice. Shmak. Like he says, it's like Rockefeller Center. They close it one day a year. What, on the Kratzmach? The Sibu. Listen to this. I didn't hear what he said, but it was funny. Yom Kippur. Rabbi said, what is Mishkanta the Surah? Anybody remember what Mishkanta the Surah is? Mishkanta the Surah, if you know what it is, raise your hand. You know what it is, right? What is it?
You pay off the loan using the produce.
Produce of the fruit. So let me ask you something. Very good. He said you pay off the loan, you borrow money, and you give the lender your field, and you tell the lender, eat the fruit. Now, does the amount of fruit that he eats, is it more than the loan or less than the loan? So it's even if it's more, because we're trying to get around, it's a loophole in ribbis. How do you get ribbis legally? By doing this, here it works like so. The malva gives the loiva $100. The loiva has a piece of property, gives it to the malva. And he tells the malva, it's worth, let's say, $10,000. Go, eat fruit. So the malva goes and eats fruit. Check this out, Rabbi Isai. He eats fruit. $100 worth, another $100, $500 worth, $600, $700, $1,000 worth of fruit. Look at his stomach. You didn't see? Look at the stomach at the end. It's gewaldic. And then what happens? So he lent $100 and he got $1,000 worth of fruit. Is that ribbis or not? No, it's not ribbis. Why? Because he's not getting back money. He's getting the fruit. He made a deal, like he bought the rights to the fruit. That's what he did. He gave $100, he bought the rights to the fruit. That's motor. But says the Gemara, if this malva is sitting on the field for 10 years, everybody's going to say it's his. He has a chazaka there for 10 years. At the end of these years, the land is going to go back without, and you're not going to owe me a dime. If the malva holds on to the shtar that says that this is just a collateral, and a lie, and he'll say, I bought this, he's going to be believed. Why did Rabbana make a takana here? That it shouldn't be ribbis. They're gonna say that you should do something, that the loiva should lose his whole field. Ella, how do you get out of this? He should have made a macha. I guess we'll stop right over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day and a wonderful summer.